We're back on the Big Game Miners, live at the HRMA conference. We've got it's getting pretty busy here, Jay. And what are we going to talk about today? I think
is this the intro? Is this the actual intro?
We're going to talk about how hard it is to find tech talent in Vancouver.
Oh,
we're recruiters. We're headhunters by trade here in the Vancouver market, and we find a lot of complaints. A lot of clients that we work with out there are basically saying it's really hard to find the level of talent that they need, and so it's our job to address that. So why is it so hard, Jason, to find tech talent in this market?
Well, there's so many factors that go into it. I think the one thing that comes to mind right off the bat is that tech talent, they're obviously high in demand. Technology is one of the fastest growing sectors here across the world. They're high in demand, they're limited, so you got a supply and demand issue there. And they're always getting contacted about certain opportunities, so they can be really, really selective of where they want to work.
Yeah.
And what that does is it creates a real strong barrier for you to secure someone, because there's if you have someone that's in the interview process, chances are they're in the interview process with 3 or 4 other companies as well.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a war for talent out there, and I mean, we look at sometimes the salary ranges that are offered in the city of Vancouver versus, say, the city of San Francisco, and that's not even taking into account the dollar difference.
Even just Toronto, too.
Yeah, even Toronto, and you see the cost of living there is lower, so economically it makes sense for the talent to head out there. At the same time, we're also seeing a bit of unrealistic expectations that are set by some of the employers out there when it comes to what they want. We find that from the candidate's perspective, a lot of the time, they're thinking, okay, I went to school, I've learned JavaScript, I've learned C#, I've learned ASP.NET. I feel like I would love a mentor, I would love to step into a company and contribute, but at the same time learn. And we find sometimes companies kind of want people to hit the ground running. And at that $60,000, $65,000 salary range, which can be pretty low for somebody who can at the same time go to an established company in Toronto, an established company in San Francisco, who's been doing it for years, who's built it, who has the scalability, has the volume that not a lot of companies in Vancouver have, and it seems like a better opportunity for them. So it's hard to really, with those expectations, with those low salaries, and with the high cost of living, it's a tough sell. It's a tough sell.
It is, and one of the biggest things is with people being able to choose where they want to go. You better be in a really exciting industry right now. FinTech's a big one, or you better be with a really awesome company that's got an amazing culture and has other things rather than just salary. I mean, money talks at the end of the day. We find that location and compensation are usually the 1 and 2 that go together in terms of securing talent, but in the tech market, wow, you need so much more than just that to be able to secure a top level candidate. But what you referred to there, that there's a lot of trouble with some of the Vancouver companies, Toronto companies, and what have you in terms of securing that level of talent, is we don't have many companies in Canada that have achieved the scalability that certain that companies in the US have. So when you're looking to hire employees that have done certain things before, there's not that many companies to choose from in Canada. The big ones are Spotify, Hootsuite in Vancouver, Cymax is getting up there. There's some really exciting companies doing some really exciting things, but if you're looking for that talent to be able to come in and maybe it's the size of database that they worked with, or as an expert at a language, the one problem that we see that employers do is we want 5 years of experience with Node.js when Node.js is 4 years old. You know what I mean?
We've seen that happen.
I don't actually know if it's 4 years old, but you get the point.
Yeah. No, totally. And you were talking at an executive level, because yes, you're right. So oftentimes, somebody like a Cymax out there is looking for somebody who's been there, done that. Somebody who's taken a company
to the next level,
Series B, and has driven that. And obviously you're not going to find that in a market that's, let's face it, relatively new compared to a lot of San Francisco, a lot of even LA, Toronto. And so, there's been there, done that is going to be tough. And so some of the initiatives that Vancouver is making, and some of the big companies are doing a good job, like Microsoft and Amazon, is really developing sort of an incubator for talent in the area. Now, of course, there are certain issues with that in terms of they're oftentimes importing up the talent from the States and incubating it here. But at the same time, I think Vancouver has a lot of catching up to do when it comes to basically showing and demonstrating to candidates what it looks like to be part of something huge and be part of a huge growth period. Because the bottom line is, the Vancouver economy, there's only so many dollars. We just don't have the big giants that you spoke of.
It's almost like a standard, they call it the sunshine tax, where it's just such an amazing place to live.
I get it, of course. You got to pay for, this.
Yeah, you can't see the view, but we're at the Vancouver Convention Center, and I don't know if you've ever been in this exhibit hall in the water. It's absolutely phenomenal, but you have an internationally renowned city. And within that city is this huge struggle to find the right person for these companies' accelerated growth.
Yeah.
And so there's a red ocean strategy and there's a blue ocean strategy. And the red ocean is to throw more bells and whistles. And the blue ocean strategy is to start thinking about things like Amazon and Microsoft of creating an incubation hub where you can start grooming talent to come in and really contribute to your organization in the future.
Yeah.
Trying to recruit someone from Seattle or from California along the West Coast is very challenging, given that the U.S. exchange rate right now with the Canadian dollar is tough. And the hardest thing that companies go through is that usually the time is now.
Yeah.
You can't wait 6 months for a lot of this talent because you need it right now. And what that does is it makes you bring out more cash out of the wallet, or I've seen some amazing sign-on bonuses and other things to get people just over the line to come work. Let's get it going, and then let's worry about the other stuff. So it's a really challenging market to recruit in. We don't have the companies that have scaled. We don't have the compensation brackets comparatively with other major cities. And we've got some really great companies doing some really great things. So we are seeing more head offices coming here.
Yeah.
We're seeing more people moving here. And I do think that it's going to get better from a all-around perspective.
The companies are starting to invest more and more in Vancouver.
But the war of talent is only getting worse. So it's the trickiest thing to find in the Vancouver market is the tech talent, very specific tech as well. So having a blue ocean strategy is probably going to yield better results in the future.
No, absolutely. The bottom line is the reason you see cities like San Francisco and the Bay Area, thriving the way they are is because companies decided, hey, this is where we're going to be based. This is where we're going to invest our time, our energy, and that's what we're going to have to see from companies like Hootsuite, like Cymax, the big guys that are growing and really developing brand recognition. Because to get talent from other markets, they need to see that. They need to recognize, oh, I know that company, and
just a slight bit. Just a slight bit. When you speak to candidates that are, VP, executive level, or even just tech talent as well, if they have a slight idea of what the company does, or have slightly heard of them, and maybe heard that they have a great culture, or maybe heard that they're growing really fast, it makes that recruitment process just a little bit more in your favor. And it's a game of inches at the end of the day, right? It's very unpredictable, and it's the war of talent's only getting worse. So if you're out there, blue ocean strategy, invest in your brand, invest in your culture, and create an environment that people want to work for. Use your employees as leverage, and hoping all the best for you in your search for talent in the tech talent market. So Big Game Hunters will be back in an hour. HRMA, thanks for tuning in. Boom.